Yeah, your ship currently is not terribly great. Just you're going to want to get rid of that as soon as possible.
That ship put us into a degree of debt that I, as a player, am not entirely comfortable.
Well, to be fair, you can get rid of that debt by just doing what they ask, and then that's going to just go away. If you screw up, though, then yeah, you're going to be in an uncomfortable degree of debt.
Always assume that you are going to screw up. Like, especially because we ended up not having the fuel to get where we were going.
To be fair, though, that was not your screw up. That was a couple of mooks who did not know what they were doing.
I like that's not gonna change. That's not gonna change reality.
Oh yeah, not it's not going to change the syndicate's perception of what's happening. No, that is correct.
But that was a very good. By the way, that was a wonderful bit of that was a wonderful bit of complication you threw at us. Like to compliment you on that.
Oh, thank you.
That was a great combination of just a silly idea combined with this is a very big problem, and then building into a further we now have a set piece we're working with.
Yeah, my biggest fear really is always going too fast. Like I think as a player, I'm always like, okay, let's get to the next plot point. Let's get to the next plot point. And as a GM, I want to draw it out because you guys really did blow through Ord Thoden. So I don't want to get you to the next major plot point too quickly. Because honestly, I don't have a whole lot mapped out. I'm mainly trying to wing it as much as possible to give you guys more of a hand in the story. Because I think the way I usually GM, I have a story and I want to tell it, and I think that ends up making me railroad the players too much. So I'm going to try something different, see if I can avoid any railroading this time around.
I mean, sometimes a railroad is just a road. But at
Yeah,
the same time, like we definitely we kind of didn't. I don't know what it was, but like it very much was the fact that none of our characters were particularly connected to Orgthoden.
no, yeah.
But I think once we are out from under the gun, and once we are at a place, the kind of a good way of turning the screws and getting us to kind of like a good way that would get the party that we have to like spin our wheels and slow down is to kind of help us remember the material costs of what we're doing so that we understand the scarcity we've got and so that that is a concern.
Yeah.
Like the fuel going out and us not having any fuel in the bad ship was kind of perfect for that because we're low on fuel. We're gonna get a refill we're hopefully gonna get a refill in this droid control ship. But regardless, like I at least am thinking about, well, eventually someone's gonna have us pay for fuel, and I don't have any money.
Yeah.
So, like, at some point, I am going to try and encourage the rest of the party to, hey, I should go stop by and grab some fucking fobs, and get some pots, and go like pick up some lowlives, and I should go do that, and you guys should like watch my back so that we can get this stuff done and we can get some capital.
Yeah, that's definitely my plan for once you guys get to. Why am I always forgetting the name?
I really want it written down.
Is it Biscayne? I think it's Biscayne.
Is it a planet? Is it a thing that would have a Wikipedia article? Is it a canon?
I think I chose Biscayne because it did not. Although it might have one for Legends. Yeah, it has one for Legends, but most of the stuff I'm going to try and stick with no Wikipedia articles due primarily to the fact that I want to either be able to pull something out of my ass or let you guys pull something out of your ass.
Oh, I wanted to know if the thing existed because are you aware of what the Star Wars Combine is?
No, please tell me.
So the Star Wars Combine is a let me look up. It is a 21-year-old, basically web browser-based game adjacent thing. It is a simulation of like the Star Wars galaxy as of 20-odd years ago.
You know, I've seen it when I've been looking for like planets and information and stuff like that, and I didn't know exactly what it was. So that summation is very helpful.
And one of the things that I've been doing in just kind of a casual thing, because a buddy of mine is deeply involved in the pseudo game aspect of it, because it's kind of what I understand Eve to be in terms of gameplay. But because a buddy of mine is deeply invested in playing it, I have an account on there, and I have a ship, and I've just been taking a ship to all of like the various systems in like the 2 Star Wars games I encounter. So like I transported to Ord Thoden at one point.
Nice.
And like then went over to the Terminus system. And like, oh hey, that's like a week's worth of hyperspace stuff. That's a fun bit of information I have now.
Looks like Rambo Ral has joined us. Greetings.
Hey, what up?
Looks like Circle Master has joined us. Greetings.
Hello.
I think we're just waiting on Darius.
Yeah, he'll be on when he is in.
So I don't know if you guys pay much attention to the chat window when you log in, but I've been rolling obligation at the end of each session. So currently it's the on the hook with the 10 Law Syndicate obligation. So everyone's stress threshold reduces by 1. And however you guys want to play that out, I'm leaving that completely up to you this time, because you just got it. It's a little bit too late for people to start hassling you about it.
Along the lines, if we need to get this done, we kind of have this little bit of a setback here, and we got to talk with a remnant.
The 10 Law Syndicate gave us a clunker, which, I mean, Gand has been repeating that if the 10 Law Syndicate wanted us dead, this is a very complicated assassination mission. But Gand is worried.
I mean, to be fair,
To be fair,
If one thing is going to fail on a spaceship, the fuel gauge isn't the worst option.
You do have a point.
all right. So give me
Also, I don't think I spent any XP.
Well, you'll have a lot this time. Where did I say that?
Well, I'm actually going to see if I can open my sheet and find something to spend XP on.
Okay. Give me just a moment to mentally get in character.
There is enough. There should be enough XP unless you've bought something already. There should be enough XP to grab your second specialization.
I am having a really hard time hearing you.
You said it's fine to me.
Yeah, I think I cranked.
That's weird because he sounds way distant to me.
I cranked the volume a little bit. You could always give that a try.
It is maxed out.
Oh.
All right. Is that any better?
Oh, that is significantly better.
All right. So I was having trouble with my mic cord earlier when playing CK2 over in a different Discord. So I had turned my sound down. Yes, Map Goons.
Who were you playing the Sunday game with Ceciltron?
Yes, I was.
I actually hung up with him up in Quebec. The guy is actually real fun and real.
Oh yeah, no, he comes across as he was incredibly endearing in the Sunday game.
Oh no, you gotta play with him in a roleplay game, because holy hell is he a fun guy when he roleplays.
I can imagine he was doing a good job of role playing in the Sunday game in CK.
One more thing.
Wait, there's a roleplay game for Crusader Kings 2?
Yeah, it's called Planet Online because it's a lot more fun when you roleplay it out than doing it as as an actual strategy.
Yeah, there's too much random chance in CK2, where like you kind of have to just go with the flow and do what's up. Like,
And it's also a lot more fun than just playing it as like some sort of power gaming thing.
oh yeah, no, I also can never say that a Paradox game is fun to power game in, because it's. But in the CK2 game that actually literally just wrapped up earlier today, everyone ended up going Hellenic, and Saxony formed a country known as Greater Armenia because he became Armenian culture in order to castrate and thus disinherit an entire family whose gimmick was they did dynastic shenanigans like perfectly.
Oh, so you're playing actually Mideast and Balkans area, right? For the focus of the camp.
Oh no! The game started as everyone was either a merchant republic or a vassal of the HRE.
Okay.
Scotland ended up somehow having the Han Chinese be the dominant ethnic grouping. It was very strange.
Is Sunset Invasion on?
Sunset Invasion was on.
Okay, then it's gonna be Aztec in a couple of years.
Oh no! The game ended. The Aztecs did their thing. Like the Aztecs, the first Aztec invasion, from what I understand, happened. The Aztecs landed, and then their leader died of an illness. So there was just like the landing stack of Aztecs sitting at the edge of the map that they would just occasionally sacrifice people to.
All right, I'm ready whenever you guys are.
I'm just need to figure out where I add the things that I just bought with XP.
You mean on your character sheet in the game?
Yeah, in the Roll20 sheet.
What are you looking to add?
Well, the thing that I can't find is the talent tree stuff.
You go into combat to do that.
Interestingly enough, yeah. So character sheet, and then
That would be why I
combat
couldn't
tab.
find it.
Oh, yeah. All right. So yeah, you've just. Does anyone want to give a quick synopsis of what happened last session?
Fuel gauge broke. We basically had to figure out what we were going to do next. We got on our ship, head out. We live in the middle of nowhere. Luckily, we noticed a Lucre Hulk. Decided to contact them. Someone introduced a droid head from his collection. But more importantly, that guy also had an argument about religion with a guy who actually majored in religion. And Gan also came up with his own ideas of religion as well. So it was a big discussion of religion, everyone. And let us see here. We also named the droid. It was named SU-1139. And we had a starfighter battle. Now we landed and we saw it's full of droids. Places really need some TLC. And we met up with a B2 battle droid that's dressed up like it's a...
All right. Yeah. Sounds like a pretty solid synopsis. So you're landed in one of the hangar bays. And as you disembark from your ship, you notice there is an atmosphere, but it's very light. So the droid that approaches you, there he is. The droid approaches you, and you hear his metallic voice chirp out, "Greetings, and welcome to Space Station 9." He is flanked by a small contingent of battle droids. They all look like they've been upgraded. By upgraded, I mean scrapped together from a bunch of different droid parts. So like you see B1 units with the B2 limbs on them. Sometimes a B2 unit will have a commando droid head on it. Just really, really, just what do you call it? Just scrapped together.
Ramshackle?
Yeah. They're very poor repair.
It's basically like Sid's toys from Toy Story.
Yeah, very, very kind of depressing, a little bit. But the one in charge seems like he is the most solidly put together.
Oh yeah, we should probably do Destiny rolls, right?
Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. All right. Dice pool.
It's all going bad so far.
All right, clear pool, force player update. Everyone roll, please. Darius, you still need me to roll yours?
Oh, it's even worse.
Ooh.
Don't worry, man.
cool.
I help carry the load.
All right, one light side point. Better start using.
I mean, you don't have to.
You guys
You can just make things easy on us.
You guys want Destiny points to work with, right?
Gand would prefer Destiny points to work with. Gand also would like to thank the King of the Droids for his greeting.
So yeah, he returns like a little mechanical salute, and says, once again, I'd like to apologize for my men's treatment of your ship. This is not how we treat our guests.
Gand would like to apologize for the response to their response.
Well, that's appreciated. Those two were very valuable members of our crew. However, you were defending yourselves, so I certainly can't fault you for that. Your ship does look like it's sustained a bit of damage. He gestures to two of the droids who kind of waddle over to it and start taking a look at the some of the blaster scoring, or the laser scoring that's pocked your ship. But then again, most of the damage really has been there for quite some time. We'll be happy to take care of any damages incurred by our rogue members.
If only it is not inconvenience to you, my friend.
No, plenty of scrap to work with. We'd be happy to make sure that any wrongdoing is restored. Of course. What was the... does anyone remember what the critical hit to the ship was?
I don't need to remember it. I marked it down. Just hold on 1 second. I'm pulling it up.
I think it was the one that says you can't use strain to take additional actions.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that sound like it was something brain.
So
Yes, power fluctuations was the name of it.
okay, and it was, I'm guessing, an easy.
Yes.
All right. So yes, if you don't mind, I can have a crew of technicians check your ship to see what kind of damages have been sustained and what we could do exactly to restore them.
That would be great.
Yes, that would be very beneficial. I'm gonna look and see with the rest of the crew. We also have a unit that still has who's still working, but he needs to have the rest of his body.
Ah, the one that we were talking to over the comms.
Yes, he's missing lots of parts, but if at all possible, if we could just get him into a much more working order, that would be good.
I think we could probably handle that.
In addition, the data that we have regarding the capabilities of our Jedi enemy is out of date. Any updates you have would be welcome.
Well, why don't we all sit down and have a conversation in a room that might be a little bit more comfortable for you? He gestures over across the hangar bay, and it's almost entirely droids. You do see what appears to be a Nemoidian technician, but they're wearing a heavy faceplate, and it looks like they've got an oxygen tank along with it. And at this point, anyone that can breathe is probably noticing that it is a little bit light in here.
Gand will take everyone's word for it.
Well then, let us get going then.
So the head droid walks across the hangar bay, kind of gesturing to the almost completely empty bay. You see all the different areas that you presume might have once been for ships just gone. There's nothing in their place. There are a couple instances of very badly damaged ships, none of which appear to be flight-worthy. And by about this point, you all reach what appears to be a small doorway leading into a room that has a breathable atmosphere in it. So the droid enters and gestures for you all to join him.
And I guess I will be the first one in with who's coming in.
Gand will follow, and Gand will be casual. Gand does not fear this place.
Right. So, entering the room, again, those of you that can breathe are, I guess it might be a little bit comforting to have a fully restored atmosphere that you can breathe easily. It looks like it was a combination conference room slash technician station. There's a large table with lots of chairs. The droid has a seat and gestures for everyone to do the same.
Gand will happily take a seat.
Yes, will do.
So, what brings you all to this little part of the cosmos?
There was a malfunction with our fuel gauge, and apparently we ran out of fuel during hyperspace, and stumbled upon you and your men by happenstance.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that's happened. No scheduled visitors, thankfully. But it wouldn't be the first time that we've had visitors find us and show up out of curiosity. A fuel gauge issue, you say, hmm? He kind of like lowers his head, and you hear like a series of beeps. And then he returns his gaze to you and says, "That, I haven't heard of that happening before."
Okay, yeah.
Would I, if I can cut in,
It happened.
What was that?
oh my goodness.
Sounds like mic issues or connection issues. Where is that? We'll give it a minute.
Check the roll 20.
Oh. Speaks binary. Would you understand the beeps? Yes. Let's see. Marcus would actually understand the beeps. The beeps were basically just saying, check the fuel gauge as well. It sounds like there is a malfunction in it. If you can get it fixed for free, please do so. If there are any costs involved, we're going to have to run that up the ladder. You know how supply chain and the quartermaster can be.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Did you hear my
we're better.
response?
I did hear your response.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So, yeah, so, again, sounds like you've been having a bit of a hard time. But we'll see what we can do about restoring your ship. And I can't remember, did you say that, what did you say after you had a problem with your fuel gauge?
I know. It's one of those things that is like, shouldn't have happened, but it did happen, and it sounds like one of those crazy tall stories, but it did happen. And we happen to be that one group that didn't check their fuel gauge correctly.
Well, there are a number of things that I wish we'd had on the ship when we'd left port last, or I guess last docked for supplies. Seeing as how it's been, what are we on now? 26 years since the end of the Clone Wars. There are lots of things that I wish we had thought to procure while we had the chance. But you know what they say about hindsight.
Something about 2020. But you guys have been out here on your own for that long? Haven't been able to find a friendly port at all?
How much do you know about the Clone Wars?
Well,
More than you'd think and less than you'd hope.
Well, there wasn't that much of it happening over on Toydaria. We had our own little problems on Hut Space.
Gand has only heard of the Clone Wars spoken in hushed tones and faraway stares.
Yes, not a favorable outcome for my group, I'll tell you that much for free. So finding a friendly face when our old enemy, the Republic, became the Empire, made things a little bit worse for us. So hiding out here at the Outer Rim, in kind of a backwards area, or backwater area, seemed like the right idea at the time.
Well, to be honest, the core worlds tend to just want to focus everything in the center and then tend to ignore the outer rim, unless, you know, they get angry and then decide to start knocking on everyone's door out here.
Well, I can't imagine it'd do too well for us battle droids to be seen anywhere, really, in a rim or out. We are content for the most part. Some of the occupants of Carbon Town have left for greener pastures, but those that have stayed seem quite content for the most part. I just realized I haven't introduced myself. My name is SCOD 1996. You can call me Scod.
Gand will have to take a moment to rearrange Gand's memories, as Gand has been thinking of you as the king of the droids this entire time.
King of Droids sounds like a really bad, I don't know, like a beer?
I was thinking Super Nintendo fighting game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, you gotta remember, there was a Genesis game back then called Cyborg Justice.
Oof. So, it looks like out of your crew, who might I assume is the captain?
That is a fair question, given that
It is,
we too are on meager resources, one might say.
Gand turns to look at Asaph and says,
Yes.
Asaph is the captain.
Well, technically, I'm sort of the face for the group and trying to deal deals with other groups and all of that, so I guess I would be the captain. We kind of actually haven't had a honest to full day yet upon us all meeting together, it seems, correct?
This fits Gand's recollection of history.
I was speaking more in terms of military rank, as Scott would be familiar. None of us are ranked captain.
Oh. Oh, yeah, putting it that way, he goes, ah, yes, so you're not a military vessel. That's good. I mean, I'd taken you as more just free traders than anything else.
Yes, we're basically a bunch of civilians here.
Well, that's good. They always make the best I guess, encounters, if you will.
Business partners?
If you have business you'd like to do with us, then certainly. We'd be more than happy to. We don't really have any solid trade routes. We've been trying to maintain a low profile out here, if you will.
Oh, that's understandable. But I'm sure there's certain things we can do as a sort of exchange. Perhaps you need some supplies that maybe we can procure down the line and then be able to exchange.
Well, there's not a whole lot that we need. There are quite a few repairs that need to be made around the ship, but unless you happen to have old CIS ship parts on hand, I think really the only thing that we could use is, to be quite honest, we could use a hand with the folks over in Carbon Town. They're probably going to be a little bit more receptive to other carbon-based life forms.
Oh,
What exactly is Carbon Town?
Well, glad you asked. After we went our own way and just stayed out here, the organic life forms on the ship decided that they'd probably do better striking out on their own and working with each other. So that means a good number of Nemoidian and other Confederacy members went off to form their own civilization on the other end of this ship. And they took with them a few of the the clones. As far as we understand, they've been living in relative harmony. We only get together on rare occasions when we hold some sort of council to dictate the ship's needs.
Are there any other factions that exist on board the ship that might complicate our stay?
As far as I know, the only complications are the ones you'd bring with you.
So there is going to be no rogue group of either carbon-based life form or droid-based life form who seek to ask us to elicit change.
Are you referring to my recommendation that you help us with the communications that we're experiencing difficulty with? Are you referring to more requests like that?
Gand is referring to more intriguing requests that Gand would hope that we would avoid. Political consideration.
Well, as far as I know, it's just us, the droids, the Nemoidians over in Carbon Town, and the small group of clones that survived this long.
But you said the clones were part of Carbon.
Tangentially, I'd say they were. They keep to themselves, from what I understand.
So the organics are not a unified group on the ship.
Not as unified as us. He pauses for a second, and it's almost like he's thinking about something, and says, outside of those vulture droids that you encountered out there, those two were a little eccentric from years with no memory wipes.
I see. So, but it seems to me, I mean, the big thing is you don't want us to try to bring the war here. So, I'm surprised they would still be gung ho about wanting to fight, despite the fact it's been over 20 plus years after.
Oh, I don't think anyone's fighting. I mean, the
I'm just mentioning the vulture droids.
yes, of course. Yeah, not entirely sure what happened there. It's odd because the last couple of ships that came by over the past several months weren't accosted like that.
Were these other trade ships?
Yes, I believe the term was smugglers, though. They had the same
A
negative.
subset of trade.
Well,
True.
They're just free traders that don't want to pay taxes. That's
So, I guess the first question I really have for you is what can we do to make your stay more comfortable and help you to move along as quickly as you're ready?
As far as Gand is aware, and the captain can disagree with Gand in this, but if you can spare us some fuel so that we can get where we are going, that would be enough for our ship to be able to breach the distance. The faster we can get fuel, the faster we can get out of here. However, on a personal note, Gand would love to assist in any problem solving, as Gand finds this entire operation very endearing.
So, when you mention fuel, his shoulders sink a little bit, and Scott says, I'm sorry, fuel is just about the only thing we can't help you with. Seeing as how we haven't been refueled for a couple of decades, we kind of need every drop we have.
yes, and that's understandable. But surely there might be a way for us to do a sort of ersatz conversion of that. There's been stories of people using alcohol in place of regular, like, gasoline and all that, so perhaps we could be able to assist.
We'll have to think about it. Like I said, every drop is very precious to our operation. We need it for our continued systems to be recharged, and the humans need it to grow their crops, to keep their systems charged. We might be able to spare some, but we need to ask for definitely something in return for it.
Gand would be happy to provide services in exchange for good.
More importantly, we could also be able to try and acquire a fuel source outside from here and be able to bring it to you at cost.
That would definitely help. However, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with the idea of any sort of trade lines being made. Like I said, we're trying to avoid the
trade line as in, continuous, but perhaps a one-shot thing. Where, you give us enough for our ship, and we will try to make sure we double or triple what you gave.
You give us an inch, we bring back a tanker full of crude.
That's a considerable margin. I'll definitely think about it. But more to the point, it's fortuitous that you showed up when you did. There's a bit of a summit between Carbon Town and Droidville, and I'm afraid that negotiations have broken down. So if you could help us on this front, then perhaps we can help you with your fuel problem.
What is the issue over which compromise has yet to be found?
He chuckles and leans back in his chair. It's funny that you ask that. Seeing as how our last war was fought based on trade, I guess it's suiting and fitting that our problems now be due almost exclusively to trade. The humans don't feel they should have to chip in their fair share as far as work goes. They're also wanting to explore the surrounding area, maybe set up some sort of trade routes. We feel that's dangerous and reckless. We're also upset that the humans are only doing half of the operational labor. And it's unfair that they're asking to take up half of the control center, despite it being uninhabitable to them. The whole area is just going to waste. On top of that, systems are failing and no one can seem to agree on how to spend our limited resources. The humans seem to want to fix the life support, weapons, and propulsion systems. We feel it's best to optimize energy, deflector shields, and fix the communication and sensor systems.
And this has been going on, or is this just stuff that has been popping up just now, these sorts of demands from both sides?
I'd say it's been going on for a while, but it's only now coming to a head.
Thesis and antithesis. Expansionism versus isolationism. It is a historical problem among many cultures.
Yeah, but it also might be the fact is you also have a new generation of people that feel the fact is that they might just feel a bit antsy about being in here for so long. They want to see things from the outside.
A lifetime spent encased in a single space station is existentially horrifying. Gand understands where the expansionist mindset comes from, and Gand also sees the isolationist point of view. Gand would make a very bad arbitrator on Gand's own, but Gand would believe that is a job this crew can accomplish.
Well, it requires some empathy on both sides, but more importantly, they would probably feel a lot better, the droids and the carbon-based life forms, if there was a third party involved to be able to arbitrate this, be able to look at both demands and see what's the best way we can handle it.
Gand does believe we should contact the carbon-based life forms prior to attempting to claim arbitration right.
Well, yes, they would need to be able to agree to that, but I'm also suggesting that's a great idea, namely so that we could be able to get a better feeling from them too. Perhaps, it might just be a fact is that both sides don't know how to communicate with each other.
Gand would also like to point out, are we currently not somewhat in debt to the droids?
Well, we are in debt to this whole ship itself. The person who is with us, the droid, who is, of course, Scod 1996, opened up the hangars to us, but also that would not have happened if he did not also have the consent of the others as well. So
this is a very roundabout way of them saying that we need to speak to those of Carbon Town before we can obviously assert ourselves as arbitrators in this discussion.
yeah, so if there's no other pressing questions, we'll go down to Carbon Town and talk with the people there. 19.
All right. Is there anything else that we can do for you at the moment?
we'll need a path that has air.
I can get you rebreathers. That's not a problem.
This would be good. Gand does not need one, but 3 rebreathers for Gand's companions would be appreciated.
Understood. He starts beeping again into his comm, and Marcus recognizes it as, we need 3 rebreathers. Make sure that they're all in fully working order. I swear to God, if we have a malfunction and guests die on my clock, I'm going to scrap every single one of you. And he turns back up to you.
Basic didn't say again.
I was wondering if I should have thrown that in there. I decided against it. So yeah, this is it's kind of a, let's see. There we go. So this is a rundown of the ship that you're looking at. So currently you are in the spinward section of the ship. As you get a sort of personalized tour guide, which I'll say is a little gonk droid that has a voice box fixed onto it. He says, "So, what can I tell you about the ship?" He creates a little projection of the ship as you see it, as he's trundling along. Does anyone have any questions?
Gand would like to know more about the purposes of the ship.
Purposes.
Gand believes this is quite a bit of open space for these. Did these all house vulture droids, other such things?
Well, at one point, yeah, there were all kinds of vulture droids. We lost most of them in that last little foray with the Republic. Boy, those guys were tough, I tell you. Glad it wasn't my job to fight them. But yeah, the clones came in with a small contingent of ships, and they really just mopped the floor with most of us. What was left over has kind of slowly been rusting and rotting. Basically just fall into disrepair.
Oh wow! You mentioned the clones. Were these the same clones that were living on the ship?
Oh yeah, definitely the same guys. They came on board with a Jedi. Ooh, that guy was scary. Had a cute little R2 unit with him though. I missed that little R2 unit. Sassy little guy.
Gand would like to know what these were clones of.
Let's see. My database says they're clones of a Mandalorian guy. Although, my databases on this are unreliable at best.
What about this Jedi you speak of? Did he have a name? What powers did he possess?
We don't know. He just died in the middle of the mission. No Confederate droid has any record of having killed him, and we scoured the last memory units of the scrap droids pretty thoroughly. But yeah, no one seems to know who killed him. It wasn't one of us. He just up and died.
What about holovid footage?
Yeah, we scanned that too. No record. He just was there on one camera screen, and then there was a dead space, and we didn't see him anymore.
But you do have the first images of him.
Oh yeah.
Could I get a copy of those, please? Just so we can identify him in the future. to remove him.
Of course. Wait, remove him? Why would you want to do that?
Why would we not?
He's a bit excited about Jedi. He studied them in college.
Ah, okay.
I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure you were speaking of me.
I don't know. You guys talking about it, it just seems a lot more cerebral than a person that would just, go into college and learn economics, get an actual business degree.
Right.
Gant
I would
did
like
not
to
go to
know-
college.
What I would like to know is why the clones remained here, since obviously the Republic was the enemy of the Trade Federation. Why did they stay? Why are they part of Carbon Town?
Well, they really just offered to help out. They said they were tired of fighting and wanted to devote themselves to fixing the situation here to the best of their capability. And I'll tell you, they've done a bang-up job. They've instructed a number of honestly, all of us in all kinds of matters. So yeah, they've been very helpful.
I suppose I'll have to speak to them myself to find out what their motivation was.
Yeah, sorry, my like I said, my records aren't really fully fleshed out in that regard. But he does flash a hollow image of a pretty generic looking human Jedi. Kind of what you'd expect from the pictures you'd seen of the Clone Wars era uniforms and everything.
So it looks like one of the default main characters from KOTOR.
Yeah, or something you'd create in Knights of the Old Republic.
So he has an afro.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, he's an Afro Jedi.
My favorite was there was a glitch in Star Wars Galaxies where you can actually have a Wookiee with an afro. So there was the Corsair officer known as Afro.
Yeah, I'm typing Afro Jedi into a Google image search. The best I've got is Afro Samurai, but they photoshopped a lightsaber in. But yeah, just
That's about right for that stuff.
yeah. So oh hey. Is that gonna work? No, that doesn't work. But yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much the information they give you on that. Did you have any other questions?
Gand would like to know the droid on the street opinion of Scud and what Scud's place is in the general hierarchy of this station.
Oh gosh. Well, we hadn't really thought about it a whole lot. To be honest, free thinking is really new to a lot of these units. As you may or may not know, originally, battle droids didn't really have individual thought. We were all just kind of controlled by these big control ships. But after that was deemed a failure, we all got our individual personalities, and we started thinking, and especially after this happened, we figured, why would we go back? There's nothing for us out there. This is kind of it for us. Scud's rallied us together, and he's been keeping the peace between the humans not the humans, the Nemoidians and the droids pretty well.
how is God being received by the clones?
Clones still have a little bit of droid racism in them. But, they seem like they can get along with him just fine. They limit their interactions considerably. But for the most part, everything's harmonious. It's just, I think there's a little bit of frustration among both parties that no one's really willing to back down on what they want. And seeing as how there's only so many resources available, we can't do everything, so we end up doing nothing.
How are the residents of Carbon Town actually organized, or is that not something you are aware of? Gan apologizes if Gan overstepped Gan's bound.
Oh, no need to apologize. I'm just a little gonk droid. Yeah, as far as we know, there is a single person who is kind of running everything. She's a leader of the people. She's an ambassador with the droids, and yeah, she apparently organizes and maintains everything just about from a structural point of view over in Carbon Town. So yeah, she's pretty cool.
What would her name be?
Buffering.
Gan is making note. Pretty cool.
Her name is Rutho Amdu. She's a Nemoidian. Fun fact, she was a visitor on the ship for a Take Your Daughter to Work day when the clones attacked. So she's really risen to meet the occasion.
Oh, okay.
I think it's best we speak to those in Carbon Town now.
Righto. So, you've all been walking through the hangar. After a certain point, you reach the living quarters. Once you get into the living quarters, this is where pretty much all the atmosphere is gone. So it's a good thing that some of you don't have to breathe and the others have rebreathers. It's a little weird walking through a section of a ship that has no atmosphere. And more or less, the living quarters is just... It looks like it's an old storage unit for ship parts that have long since been used up. So so there are large open spaces that have been repurposed with droid charging stations. And there are several droids that are currently charging, and other than that, it's pretty bleak. Not a whole lot to look at. And eventually you get into some of the more, what do you call them? Maintenance areas. You occasionally see a Nemoidian or maybe even a Duros individual walking around, once again with a full rebreather mask on. And then you get to a large set of double doors that has a sign on it that says authorized units only, now entering Carbon Town. So the little gong droid toddles up to a low-hanging panel, and a little manipulator arm comes out, pushes a few buttons, and says, "Hey, yeah, we got some organics that wanted to talk to you guys. So here they are. I'm out of here. And then he turns around and trundles off again.
Gand liked him.
Yeah, he's a likable fellow.
After a moment, the one of the panels lights up, and you hear a voice come across. Yes, hello. You wish to? Well, I guess we should greet you and welcome you. Hold one moment, please. The door opens, and you see ahead of you. There's kind of like a, I guess almost like an airlock. Please enter.
Yeah, I guess we'll enter.
So, upon entering, the door closes behind you. There's a soft hissing sound, and you feel air start to circulate around you. It is now safe to take off the rebreathers if you wish. Is anyone leaving them on?
Yeah, I guess I will.
Might as well take it off? Question mark. They're probably going to think it's weird if we don't.
It may be a social faux pas to still wear the rebreather and make it seem like you're expecting them to cut your oxygen at any.
Yeah, I'll definitely take mine off.
All right. So, as some of you are taking off your masks, the door opens once again, and this time, rather than a droid, you're greeted by a well-dressed Nemoidian woman who walks up to you and bows deeply. Hello, and welcome to what we playfully call Space Station 9. I hope your interaction with the droids was enjoyable.
It was.
Gand does not want to express this because Gand feels that this would be doing a disservice to the place that is clearly your home and not necessarily the most friendly of homes for you to live at, but Gand has been incredibly endeared to this station and would do nothing but Gand's best to attempt to help.
My, you're very polite. I was not expecting that. Most people we get around here are... I hesitate to use the term lowlifes, but they're definitely the kind who lack social graces. So, on behalf of my people, I welcome you. I am Rutho Amdu, daughter of Nemo Amdu. I hope that you will enjoy our side of the station a little bit more, as it is more likely in keeping with organic life forms' comforts. Please, follow me. So she turns and starts walking into the other section of the ship.
And we would follow her.
So
And will follow.
in following, you make your way through... basically, it's the same ship that you just saw, but kind of a mirror image. A lot of this ship is occupied. There is no wasted space. So whereas the other one had like empty shelves and areas that looked like they were just used to store like freight boxes, this place is teeming with life. The previous occupants look like they have really made this place their own over the past 2 decades. Most of the people that you see are Duros. There are a couple, not Duros, Nemoidian. There are a couple other species, a fair amount of humans, a fair amount of Duros, a Twi'lek or two. It's a little bit more diverse than you might have expected. There are also a good deal of younger individuals. It's not just the original inhabitants, although there's certainly plenty of old people as well. As you walk, Rutho says, so I take it that the droid sent you here to negotiate with us.
Not yet. They're also...
They wished us to act as negotiators on their behalf, but Gand and Gand's captain would prefer to get a larger lay of the land before committing towards any decisive actions on our.
She stops and kind of turns around to look at the rest of you that haven't spoken to kind of gauge some sort of reaction.
You'll have to forgive me, but this is what I have studied in miniature. I am eager to see how this arbitration takes place, but at this point I haven't taken sides.
She kind of turns to the Toydarian.
Well, as the Gan says, we're here to basically, you know, see what it is just like over here on Carbon Town and see basically everything there is to be. We just recently arrived here. Hopefully we're not going to be that much of an inconvenience for you.
And then she turns to the Mikian.
He just sort of shrugs.
At this point, she smiles and let's see, I'm trying to so bad at remembering everyone's names. All right, so Kazan and Kaban and Marcus, you all get kind of an odd feeling that you've met her before. So just as soon as it shows up, it passes, and she says, "That's reassuring. I apologize for being so abrupt with my line of questioning. Originally I'd gone to school for public relations, and a lot of that is wasted on droids. So I've had to adapt a bit. So she's continuing to lead you through this section of the ship. And at about this point, you all come to a large section of what had been the storage area in the droid section, is like a sort of sleeping quarters in this section. So just large portions of hull have been repurposed for the for making rooms. So there's like almost an apartment complex that you're walking through now. She leads you to a large and interestingly furnished room. It looks like it's a mishmash of several different cultures, aesthetics, and there's another large table that is identical to the droids. And she says, "Please, have a seat. I'm sure you all have several questions for me, especially since you've kind of been drawn into our situation as arbiters. And I hope you all can forgive me, but the last time we engaged with arbiters in any situation, they had laser swords and killed us. So hopefully this time goes better for all of us." She gives a dry smile.
Gand is interested in what that aside means.
So
Marcus rolls his eyes.
You fought the Force user that disappeared on this ship.
the Jedi.
It is a Jedi thing. Gand was unaware of that euphemism for Jedi.
Yes.
Oh, Gan knows now.
Gand is learning so many interesting things today.
The Jedi, who I believe was named Wef Barros. Master Barros was an interesting individual. I had the pleasure of meeting him. He did not kill me, as my father was worried he might. But at the same time, he did slay several of my father's friends, who I was very close with, so I don't have a terribly high opinion of this type of individual. This was not the kind of arbitration that I had read about in school. But
Gand has never met a Jedi, unless Marcus is holding out on Gand. But
Marcus
Gand-
has met many Jedi. Marcus was raised on Coruscant among Jedi. Marcus can tell you that the Jedi is a failed philosophy, and as our host Rutho can well attest.
she nods. Yes, it was disheartening seeing people with such potential squandering it by cutting down people that simply wish to be free. And now, of course,
Which I think
go ahead.
which I think is what we had best hear first before asking any specific questions. But what is it that you and Carbon Town, by extension, would like to do that puts you in conflict with those in Synthburg, Droid Town, however we want to describe it?
They refer to it as Droidville.
Droidville.
But you can certainly, or Synthburg, it was Synthburg. You can certainly call it whatever you like. I don't think they'll be offended. So I'm not sure if Scott has gone over any of the laundry list of points that we disagree on. They believe that discretion and keeping hidden is the key to survival. However, we know that is not the case. We've seen our numbers dropping, and we've seen our supplies getting fewer and fewer. Replenishable supplies like food and to a lesser degree water, that is that's something that we can handle. We have a shuttle that goes to a nearby planet to get additional water. But any further than that, and Scott just refuses. Without any sort of trade lines, though, the days of my people are numbered. Scott's people don't have to worry about anything other than just energy, and there's so much that we have to worry about. And that would be the number one, I'd say, is some sort of trade is absolutely necessary. The other thing that we've been butting heads about a lot lately is which systems to fix. We only have enough resources to fix conservatively 3 different systems, but there's 6 major systems that need repair, and wouldn't you know it, we're split down the middle on which ones need fixing. So since we can't agree, and we can't come to a compromise. We fixed nothing, and we've been spiraling downward into disrepair.
Well, I, for one, would certainly be interested in trying to mediate a compromise. I absolutely oppose the sort of or not even mediation, arbitration that the Jedi tried to impose upon you. But, I suppose more to the point of what to fix and what to get is what your goal would be. You want to fix certain things, they want to fix certain things. What purpose would you put the repaired systems to?
Well, we feel that obviously life support is key. With no life support, I mean, where we are now with life support, we've more or less relegated all life support to the core word section of the ship. But that limits what we can do in Synthberg. We have a large number of technicians and maintenance crew that go over there on a regular basis. And yes, they have rebreathers, but it's not comfortable being in an area without atmosphere or thin atmosphere for a large amount of time. Weapons, that is, I feel, necessary if we're going to do any exploration into the nearby system, or potentially find someone nearby that we could trade with regularly. If we do end up moving out of this area, but currently you're not even really in a system. You're just along a hyperspace lane.
Route.
Yeah. If we are to venture into nearby systems, then we will need some form of defense, because the more we travel, the more likely we are to pick up pirates. And I think we heard that you guys shot down the last 2 vulture droids. And
Did everything against its power to not shoot down the last 2 vulture droids, but they refused to surrender.
she holds up her hands.
Dan is racked by guilt.
She holds up her hands and says, "Please, no. Technically, they were our people, but we understand that they are droids, and especially the vulture droid pilots are little more than programs, not even as sentient as your average battle droid. And while that does pose a loss for us as far as safety, we also heard that they fired on you. So we 100% understand." So we do not hold that against you. Now, if we will probably need to get our laser batteries working and maybe repair some of those vulture ships if we plan on exploring to any capacity. And then finally, propulsion system, we may want to relocate. We may have to relocate. The hyperdrive was long ago cannibalized to restore other important ship functions. So if anyone finds us, we're here. That's just the long and short of it. So those would be the 3 systems that we feel take priority.
What do the droids believe would be most important to get running?
The central power battery was damaged during the initial conflict with the clone army. So energy has not been optimized. They feel that optimizing energy flow throughout the ship would be beneficial, to be honest, mainly for them. And while we can't deny that it would help us with our hydroponic farms, we don't feel that it would serve us very well in general outside of that. They also wish to repair the deflector shields, feeling that if we can get those running again outside of capital ships, most starfighters would be unable to damage us. And then having communications and sensor systems at 100%, especially sensor systems. Currently, we don't have long-range comms or sensors, so we are kind of blind and mute out here.
And you don't see any room for compromise. For example, the communication system, in addition to providing the sensors, would also provide an avenue to reach out for trade, would it not?
This is true. However, having communications and sensors running, especially communications are not 100% secure. Other people could intercept those. And if we don't have weapons online and we don't have propulsion online, or, ideally, hyperdrive. Without those, if someone were to intercept one of our comms, they would know where we are, and they would know how to find us, and we would be defenseless. So it's been a back and forth for almost a decade now. It's been 9 years since we've started this discourse on what needs to be done. And as of now, we both feel that unless we get these three systems that we each feel is vital to our survival, then our way of life is, our days are numbered.
I'm also curious, if I might slightly shift the subject, as to why clone troopers decided to remain here.
She takes a deep breath and says, well, there's a story. I don't know why the change of heart. My father believed that we should let them stay if they wished. And it was touch and go for a while. They found a set of quarters for themselves. They mostly kept to themselves initially, but over time they began helping, mostly in organizational capacities. These particular clones didn't know much about farming or mechanical repairs, but they're strong and they were willing to help. So with a little bit of supervision, they were able to help us construct a good number of these apartments that you see here, and they've helped us as far as training with weapons in case the worst case scenario happens and we get boarded by pirates, or just worst case scenario, the Empire. So it's been a mutually beneficial relationship for all of us.
And what can you tell us about what fate befell Jedi Master Barrows?
We have asked the clones, since all holo records indicate they were the last one to see him alive. They have sworn not to speak of it. And I can only imagine what that means.
Well, one needn't imagine. I'm quite confident of what that means.
And what do you think that means?
Gan would also like.
Well, I don't know what larger news you know since the Republic became the Empire. But speaking as somebody who is from Coruscant and had to flee Coruscant, the Empire and the Jedi are not on speaking terms.
We have heard some news, but precious little. I take it the Jedi are not an order anymore?
I'm not confident enough to say that they are extinct, but great lengths have been made to reach that goal.
So Rutho's lip twitches a little bit as if she's about to say something, then thinks better of it.
I'm gonna make sense.
You're gonna what?
I'm gonna make sense.
Okay. That's opposed to her discipline, right?
It's not opposed by anything. I'm just reading, like, emotional state.
You're going to have to roll a discipline check for that.
Yeah, never mind. I missed
Okay.
with.
All right. So,
Gan is interested in Marcus explaining how the Empire went about attempting to render an order extinct. But Gan understands that this conversation can happen on our own time. But Gan would like to, as is said, put a pin in it.
So what?
Regardless, it's fair to say that the clones are citizens of Carbon Town, I suppose. They are not their own faction unto themselves.
I suppose you could consider them
correct?
I suppose you could consider them a sub-faction, although they'd be more closely aligned with us than Synthberg.
I only bring this up because if compromise can be reached between you and Scott, that compromise would be binding unto the clones as well, or would they protest?
Do these clones have a leader figure of their own who might wish for a place that...
Well, so currently there are only 4 remaining clones. Their leader goes by the name Reed. I don't know why, but seems as good a name as any. Reed is... I think he's made it quite clear that he and his companions have no special interests. They simply wish to exist peacefully, and they will go with whatever the more popular opinion dictates.
So they will accept consensus. Yes.
I think that is the best way to put it.
Would they possibly have input? Arguments that might offer an interesting and more different perspective on the issues your ship is facing?
Well, we have tried to get them involved to a greater capacity, but Reed just said that they're tired of fighting and they're tired of conflict, and this feels like more of the same. My understanding is that this is not completely unlike what sparked the conflict that spawned them. So I don't think they're eager to involve themselves in another trade dispute.
One can scarcely blame them. Do anyone else have any questions at the moment?
I think that's actually good.
Gand would like to find some way to put us in debt to this faction as well. Simply because... Gand would like to bring up that our ship is needing fuel. The entire reason for our being here is that we are out of gas, out of road.
So Rutho nods and says, yes, that would make things rather difficult. We have had individuals in the past that had nowhere else to go, but certainly no one reaching us without the means to continue, but the desire to do so. What?
Gand believes we would bring problems if we were to stay here for far too long.
What kind of problems do you imagine you would bring?
The violent kind, unfortunately.
Our ship was a loan from people who would be very problematic if they did not receive their payment for it.
Yes. Well, she rubs her temples deep in thought. I suppose Scott explained to you the precarious situation we have with the fuel, yes?
Indeed.
He did.
We could potentially work to get you fuel. She seems to be mulling over a lot of things in her head. Eventually she says, what do you know of supply lines?
Militarily speaking?
In general.
I'm afraid my knowledge would be more academic than practical.
Academic knowledge may be all that we have at the moment, Marcus.
A fair point.
Gand has no practical knowledge of tactics above the small unit.
See, this would be where the academic in me corrects you to say that tactics is entirely separate from logistics, under which supply lines fall. But again, that gets us nowhere.
Why don't
What exactly
Why doesn't someone give me a negotiation roll?
Captain?
Okay then.
Hang on one second. Let me set the difficulty. Boop. Actually, let me... All right. Difficulty is set.
Well then, I'm going to spend a light side token.
Okay.
Our only light side token.
Well, we're going to get more, don't worry. This is us trying to make sure we don't do a pop off.
I think that's what just happened.
No despair, so...
All right.
4 threat is a lot.
Yeah, so I'm going to use that all narratively. All right, so she sighs and says, unfortunately, this is a textbook case of us holding all of the cards. So we can get you enough fuel. Where do you need to reach? First of all, do you guys even know where you are?
We are somewhere between Ord Thoden and Biscay.
So that is a good chunk of hyperspace lanes. But I don't think anyone actually did an astrogations check. So
I mean, we know what lane we took, because didn't Marcus do our astrogation?
Yeah,
oh yeah, so well
when we jumped, I did astrogation, and
yeah, so
But you did not do astrogation when we arrived, so we don't know where on the route we are.
yes. So you're trying to reach Biscayne. Oh, did you tell her where you were trying to reach?
And did say Biscay.
Okay, so you're trying to reach Biscayne. That is the next point on your trip. And do you have any money for fuel within facilities that accepted Imperial credits? Or whatever credits you have on you.
that is a good question that I don't know the answer to.
Gand has no money. Gand does have things for barter, but Gand has no money.
How much is fuel?
It's a plot thing. I mean, I guess just tell me how much money you guys have. $215 credits.
That's me. I mean,
Didn't you guys get like a payment up front, or was it all to be delivered?
I'm pretty sure we got a ship up front
Okay, yeah.
and nothing
Even-
else.
If you'll recall, we got a despair on our negotiation roll.
Oh yeah.
We are only getting paid basically in the ship and being able to get to leave.
no, we got money too. We just haven't been given it yet because we haven't finished the job.
Oh yeah. You wouldn't get anything up
Jobs
front.
plural.
Correct.
So then the answer is you don't have enough. You will need enough fuel to get to your destination of Biscayne. That's no small amount. What we can do is if you can ferry a representative of my people to Biscayne. Actually, hang on a second. She pulls out a data pad and starts looking at it. Let's see. Buffering.
Gand has no credits. Gand has
Okay, cool.
scanner goggles, electro binoculars, a forensics investigation kit, a military training manual.
How long do you plan on being in Biscayne?
Gand will have to hunt twice while on Biscayne. I believe that's what the fobs say, yes? That's...
Yeah.
Yes. Gand will have to hunt twice on Biscayne. But Gand does not need the ship on Biscayne during the hunt. So either decently long or as short as needed. Though that also brings the question to the rest of the crew. Does anyone else have business they will be accomplishing on Biscayne?
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be mainly on whether we can pick up another job or not, and then leave once we get our prior obligations done.
And so our current obligations are forefront in my mind.
I believe they are forefront in everyone's mind. See the role.
Yes. Okay, so this is what I can propose. You take a representative of my people and you drop them at the Jameis system. While you're taking care of your business in Biscayne, that my representative can look into a covert supply line. When you are done with your business on Biscayne, I would ask that you pay us back for the fuel, with additional fuel from Biscayne, and then return to pick up the representative in Jameis. So essentially, you would be borrowing fuel, and for that, you would be assisting us in establishing a supply line.
And would this representative need to be kept secret from Scott?
We have not kept things on covert levels for my duration here. I would not prefer that. I would prefer that we could find some way to agree that a supply line is best. But that's the best thing that I can think of. I mean, the fact that we're taking a shuttle to the nearby system of Basilia, that is wasteful. And while Scott might not think or might feel that waste is merited, I do not.
Well, I personally have no objection to this arrangement, though, again, personally, I very much would like to settle things between the two sides of this ship.
Being able to secure a trade route like this would probably help in the negotiations, especially since it's dealing with some of the things that are getting them very anxious Especially because they have been having to rely on stuff they could gather, and especially they've been out of port for 26 years.
Yes, that is part of the problem, though, is that this is an existential conflict. If they were open to trade in the way that the organics were open, this would not be an issue, would it?
Well, the droids themselves are kind of terrifying, mainly because they were the face of the Separatist side during the Clone Wars, and they are going to be very hesitant about putting themselves back in the limelight into the public.
The droid half of the ship appears to be existing under siege for the entire history of the ship. Those of you who are alive appear to be no longer under siege of your own volition. What do we think of that interpretation of things?
All I want to establish at the moment is that I believe that we should attempt to find a compromise before making this trip. Before sending out the representative and looking at fuel, let's look at the overall conflict and see if we can resolve that.
Well, even getting both sides to agree to actually send in this negotiation, this person out would be a good first step. This is not something that can just be done instantly.
Are we alone in the room at this point?
Oh no, she's been sitting there, just very patiently contemplating
Literally,
things.
all that Marcus is saying is, let's do the negotiation first, and then do the passenger thing.
I'm just going to turn to the representative and say, could you give us a minute to discuss this?
Yes, of course. She stands up and walks out.
So Gand would very much like to help these people in every possible.
Yes. As I've said, I would also like to help mediate this conflict.
They're going to give us the fuel. We can just take the fuel and get the hell out of here. If you don't recall, we have some very lovely people that are going to put some very lovely blasters into our brains if we don't get the rest of our work done.
And if we simply accept this, then we are under obligation to yet another power in the universe that is not ourselves.
A power in the universe that's not even capable of leaving the dead space that they're stuck in.
Gand would point out, Gand is already guilty. He destroyed the last of their defenses. Gand does not want to rip these people off as well.
Fine. If you think it's necessary, then I will agree. But only because you want it, Kevin.
Gand thanks you for your acquiescence.
Now, more to the point, let's make sure that we ourselves are on the same page before we attempt to act as mediators so that we are not conflicting between ourselves. I see a possible solution to this. I'd like to know how you all feel about it. The concern of the droids is safety, first and foremost. The concern of the organics is supply, first and foremost. To serve both of those ends, it seems that the systems that most immediately need to be repaired would be the communications, the weapons, and the shields. Bringing in traders without the ability to protect or project your will only invite piracy and, well, the sorts of people that we're indebted to.
Gand...
At the same time, even the droids must accept that this is not a sustainable situation and outside input is required.
Well, the droids realize that. You heard Scott talk about the fact is that he's also sort of disappointed that nothing is getting fixed because they keep arguing about the priorities. So
Gand will point out that Gand's earlier nonsense about the droids seeing this ship as being under siege is not, if not crucial, a very important part of the mentality behind the droids' choices.
And I'm sure that is what is motivating them to want the shield generators repaired.
So,
At the same time,
Gand agrees with your assessment, and Gand likes your proposed solution. Gand is afraid, however, that the organic aspect of the ship will see it as a unfair deal, as the shields... No, sorry, the droids would see it as an unfair deal, as the engines and... Or no, wait.
no.
I was very confused for a second. So, the guns
Yes.
are organics, are the compromise from the organics end, and the shields and the communications are the compromise from the droids end. And this leaves the droids having gotten more out of the deal than the organics.
But the deal is not simply contingent on these systems, it is also contingent on the reaching out for trade vis-a-vis the passenger, etc. They have to accept letting in some of the outside world.
Gand likes that. Gand is very glad that you had an answer to Gand's objection. Hopefully, it is enough. But no, Gand likes the compromise Marcus presents. Gand hopes that it will work.
I am, of course, open to input and feedback from the rest of the crew.
Any words of wisdom from our expert negotiator, Captain?
well, I think the last two times we did negotiations, there was a sort of point where the person we were negotiating with had all the cards. I do believe our friend here is able to at least be able to present a very strong case for us. I also see this as nothing more than being able to establish good relations. If we're able to get these people on the right track, we'll have people, they'll be very grateful for us, and it would also be a safe port of call. Because we need to lay down for a while, right?
And I should add, if we can get the droids to accept the representative being sent out, then they will have less of an objection to our use of some of their fuel.
Exactly.
So we are in accord,
Mm-hmm.
Gand agrees.
and I think we ought to bring both parties together and see what they think of this.
Star wipe.
I'm actually waiting for Darius to get back.
Oh, I didn't see him
Yes,
saying
we
that he
all
was
come to
away.
agreement, and then Darius is like, "No, fuck this shit. We're gonna kill."
Well, I think that was kind of the point of the conversation we had that he had just before you went to the bathroom, where it was, we'll do this. We'll do this. I'll pitch my let's just rip them off plan.
We can save that as the backup plan.
Oh, no, no. Gan has only known these people for a few hours. But Gan would kill but if something bad were to happen to them, Gan would kill everyone in the room, and then Gan. And then
Well, Hegelian dialectics, we have the classic thesis-antithesis situation here, and while compromise is a route to synthesis, one side annihilating the other will also radically change it, and result in a synthesis of a different sort.
As long as we don't have like a high school understanding of Nietzsche, which is just Randian philosophy, I think we'll be fine with Hegel.
Oh, fucking high, y'all.
So one more mention of Hegel, you're gonna have to bring bagels for the rest of the group.
Well, I mean, my whole character's backstory is intertwined with the Jedi-Sith dichotomy and the dialectic there.
Oh, real quick, while I'm waiting for...
This is just that in miniature.
While I'm waiting for Darius to get back, I'm actually going to go grab something to drink. Oh, never mind. Yeah.
Never mind, I'm not back.
I should have...
drink.
Yeah, let me get something to drink. You guys talk amongst yourselves for just a second longer.
Alright, so...
So how about that local sports team?
Well,
For the record, I was not actually out of character opposed to helping them. That was just Kazan trying to play the somewhat self-centered bastard that he is.
Oh no, I felt like it was really good and kind of a good character.
Yeah, it definitely was something that should have been brought up and overruled.
They literally were like, "We'll send a representative with you and give you fuel if you'll go do this thing." And I'm like, "That's the only thing we need here is the goddamn fuel. Let's tell them yes and dump the representative out of the fucking hold in the first place we go to."
Whoa, that's... Wow.
See,
Well,
like, again,
I said first place we go to, not like deep space.
No, I was like,
Technically,
whoa,
we go there before we end
space.
up landing, but...
That's like such a fucking rogue trader thing.
Man, being a bastard doesn't have anything to do with 40K.
Oh no, but
I didn't say anything about fascism,
Rules
after all.
to be that, such that the previous planetary governor that was a friend of their dynasty got killed, and the rogue trader decided to take emergency measures, run the government, and embezzle everything he can into his coffers before.
Yeah, that sounds like Rogue Trader.
And then the tech priest seeing an actual Terminator and actually wanting that thing. So nearly getting himself killed by burning at Fate Point. The Mechanicus player will always go heretic.
I've only played Rogue Trader once, and in it I rolled very poor stats and was just like a priest who got lucky repeatedly.
Nice.
I try to avoid anything to do with 40K as hard as possible.
It's one of those things. Sooner or later, you're gonna deal with it, and it depends on the person that's running it. I'm just running it as a dark comedy. The heretic decided, hey, he's best friends with a demon in his head now, and decides to, well, we got Eldar pirates. You want that instead of us for today?
Well, the last time I played Rogue Trader, the GM decided to have a little minor bar fight scene to introduce us to the combat system, and it was a TPK.
All right, did anyone else leave while I was going to get something to drink?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, we were supposed to stay quiet and make like we all left.
All right, so you're sitting and having a discussion. You're probably about at the point where you're about to call in for your representative or your contact with Carbontown. When all of a sudden, you hear a strange scraping sound in the ceiling above. It's the only warning you have before a pair of grates burst from the ceiling slam into the ground, followed by 6 piles of scrap. The piles of scrap rise up with what appear to be long blasters and glare at you. Murder Jedi, they say in unison. So I need everyone to roll initiative.
Kenneth did not see this coming.
Uh-oh. It's the 9 o'clock monster.
Is the
Oh no, it's Nintendo's Rob. He's evil.
Yeah, the most evil. Hang on a second. Let's see. Remove all terms. Clear.
is the difficulty clear?
It is now.
Saying that Nintendo's Rob is evil is redundant.
Okay, I need to fix that.
Wow. I bet we're going first.
Actually, don't know how to do this.
Okay, get rid of the 4-1. That was a mistake on my end.
4-1 is a mistake.
Yes, I let the
What
dice
the
upgrade.
fuck?
Get rid of like whatever craziness caused that jump. Actually,
Goddamn, 0.7?
I only got the 1 triumph, as for some reason I had an upgrade sitting on my
Oh yeah.
Dice pool.
Man, that is some horse shit.
So I'm just gonna throw a green die. If that I don't even know if that'll work.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, I'm sure you can just manually change the turn order.
Let's try this. There we go. All right. So NPC, PC. All right. So for Darius was 0. Was it 07?
0.7.
All right. And then let's see. Was it Cabin who got the 2-2?
Marcus got 2-2.
Marcus.
The 2-2 is
Kevon
legit.
got 3 1s.
Hang on a sec. I'm sorry. So which one was Caban? He was the one with the upgrade, the extra upgrade?
He was the one with the double triumph.
Okay. Okay.
That was actually 1 triumph and 1 triumph, 1 success, 1 advantage.
All right. I'm just gonna leave it as is. And then these assholes only have 1. So. There we go. All right, cool. So they are going last. Which is probably good for
I go
you.
before that 0.1.
Yeah. So all those were good for something. All right, so let's see, descending. All right, so top round. And let me try one more thing real quick. Right. Okay, cool. All right, so PC up first.
How do we want to do this, folks?
I am going to
What's the
open up
difficulty of a computer's check to issue their shutdown codes?
Most effective shooters first.
Is it most effective first?
No, I'm suggesting
I,
that.
Do we want to go, so I would assume me and Kazan are the most effective at the shooting?
I am the least effective.
So would we like to have someone attempt to broach dialogue before we start shooting?
Well, I can do
I
this.
mean, can I roll computers to figure out their shutdown code?
Yeah, say, do you want to do that first and try that, and then as backup we'll have 2 rounds of our combat? Oh wait, no, it's all
Yeah, I mean-
PC. It's all PCs.
Yeah, all four of us are
And
going first.
Yeah, somebody, whoever's going to do something that isn't shooting them, go first, because we might as well find out if it works before we start.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
let's
can
do
I-
both of our possible non-shooting options first. Then last two just.
So yeah, this is a question for the GM of, can I even attempt this with computers?
You can attempt it. Reprogramming a droid takes a considerable amount of time. You could probably do some short-term damage to them, like maybe strain, which would be, since they're just minions, it would just be damage. So, in theory, I'm going to say yes.
Cool. Then set the appropriate difficulty so I can click the thing to roll.
All right, so the appropriate difficulty, and you'll have to forgive me because I completely forgot what it takes to program combat droids. I think it's this. So I'm actually going to use a dark side point and upgrade it. And also, you're using antiquated technology. And you're also... I mean, it's going to be hard, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So it's set. So go ahead and try and slice the shit out of them. All right.
Ugh.
So that threat, I'm gonna say it causes them to react erratically, which is going to be one setback for the next character to attack, another setback for the following character, and I'm also going to give you 2 strain.
Okay.
But what's your intelligence?
Intellect is 4.
4? I'm going to say you do...
Yeah, it looks like it didn't roll correctly, actually.
So 2 setback. The difficulty was 3, upgraded once.
Yeah, it should have been 2 green, 2 yellow instead of 3 green, 2 yellow.
That's right, yeah.
Something added a green.
Yeah, that'd be me. So we'll take off the blank one. So your result is the same.
Okay.
And then, so you do essentially... go ahead and describe what you're doing. Shit, I just realized. They're at medium distance. So you're going to have to move twice if you want to get up to one of them. Because you need to go to short distance with 1 maneuver, and then short to medium with an additional maneuver.
So it's what, additional strain?
2 if you're it's 2 strain for an additional maneuver, right?
2 strain. Okay. I'm just marking it down.
And then you take 2 additional strain for the action.
Yeah, I already got that.
Great.
One. So I'm at half dead already, almost. Yeah, basically just going up to it and trying to find the emergency shutdown buttons. And, boy, they make that a lot harder to find on the military droids.
Well, I guess we can say that you found, like... why don't we say this? You found Rutho's data pad. And you can plug that into one of the ports on the... Because you'd need to use computers. If you're looking to, just pull switches, that'd be mechanics. But yeah, so you plug it in and frantically try and give it the shutdown commands.
Control Alt Delete's not working. I don't know what to do.
You gave it your best try. So you basically scramble its systems, but this guy is like bobbing and weaving all over the place after you issue those commands. So it looks like you've severely damaged one of them. Actually, let me double check. I'm pretty sure you just damaged him. Yeah. So He's badly damaged, but bobbing and weaving. So the next person has a setback on their roll. So next up.
Okay, I got it actually set up on my end, so if you just want to reset the dice, I can just my scathing parade. See how it is.
Do you have? Do you have the setback?
I removed 2 setbacks.
Okay, good. Then it's ready for you to go. And yeah. Go ahead and roll.
Ooh. That's let's see here. I do each success causes 1 enemy in close range to suffer 1, so I'm gonna move to this. And yeah. I guess I'll focus on 1 and do 3 damage.
Okay. Which one? The group that's already been damaged.
Yes.
All right. So how much damage total?
3.
And it's not soakable, right?
Yeah, that's because it's system strain and all of that. Language doesn't say it's soak like regular.
Gotcha. All right. So one of them starts going haywire, malfunctioning, sparking, and then slumps over, and there's a comical second where nothing happens, and then it explodes.
Good old minion groups.
All right. That was a move and a maneuver and an action. Do you want to do anything else?
Oh no, that was my maneuver in action.
Oh, I was going to say you can always do an additional, but if you're done, you're done.
Well, the additional maneuver would have been to, gosh, no, you can only do like 1 maneuver and 1 action.
You can.
You want to spend like 2.
Yeah.
I think I'll just give the next person a boost die with that extra advantage.
I believe you give them 2. If you're doing one boost.
No, because I can spend advantage to cause 1 affected enemy to suffer an additional strain. So that's what I did. So I gave him 3 strain from my 1 advantage and then 2 success.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So next up.
Yeah, whoever's not shooting.
Kazin, you wanna go first?
Yeah,
Get
okay.
and go back, clean up.
You're going to be batting a lot harder than I am, so sure. We're at medium currently.
Currently, yes.
How many maneuvers from medium to short? Is it
2.
1 or 2?
1 from engaged to short, and then 1 from short to medium.
Alright, I'm going to take 2 strain to move to short and then fire.
Hang
Well,
on.
you don't have to take strain to do that.
Yeah, if you're moving to short, then you're just moving once from engaged to short. If you're trying
We're
to...
engaged. I thought we were at medium with them. I did not realize that we were...
Yes.
Yeah, you're at medium. 1 maneuver will get you to short.
Okay, well, I asked how many maneuvers to short and was told 2.
My apologies. So yeah, if it's to short, then it's just 1 maneuver.
Okay, well then I will take 1 maneuver. I will... Is it worth an aim? Yeah, I'll take 2 strain to aim, and then I will fire.
All right, so let's see. I believe it's what one difficulty for short.
Usually, yeah.
And then 1 setback.
For their defense?
Oh no, for the all the strain from the hacking.
For all the threat that I rolled.
Oh, okay.
Yes, their movement
But you're
is erratic.
getting 2 boost dice. One's from
Yeah.
aiming and one's from...
All right, so the pool. Actually, you know what? I'm
Captain.
gonna. Are you gonna upgrade on your side?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'm gonna upgrade on my side as well. So the it's set.
All right. So I hit for. Oh, that is 7 damage.
All right.
Oh. 5 is a normal amount of damage a weapon.
I don't have a blast. There's an extremely loud sound when I fire.
All right. So how much was that again?
7 damage.
All right. So another one of them pretty much instantly explodes.
I will pass 2 boost die to the next person to go, and that's me.
All right. Last PC.
Did both of them explode?
There are 2 groups of 3.
Alright, because there's groups of 3. So 2 of the 6 have exploded?
Yes.
Is it that, have they both come from the same group?
It's 2 separate mini groups.
Have we only
the
damaged
deaths.
one minion group?
Yes.
Gand will target the minion group that we have not done anything to. Gand will aim, granting a boost die that Gand will add, and then add the 2 additional boost die from Kazin, yes?
Correct. Yep, I passed 2.
There we go.
Has the difficulty been set for medium range?
Medium range. It has now. Are you going to upgrade?
Gand is not going to upgrade.
I am going to upgrade.
So Gand
This set.
Gand is going to take the shot.
And this was at the one that's already the group that's been damaged, right?
No, this was to the undamaged group.
Okay. So go ahead and tell me how much that does total 9 damage.
Does 9 damage plus the number of successes.
Oh, okay. So 9.
I don't see any of the boost dice.
Oh, yeah. What?
I just rolled.
Wait. Oh! Alright. Now
Just
I
roll
know
2
why
blues.
I know why that is.
3 blues. Yeah.
So that is 2 advantages, and then...
No. You already. I'm going to say you already rolled that first roll. The 3 boost. Just ignore the what's it called? The threat.
I say I hadn't realized there was difficulty on. There was a threat. There was difficulty on that. So that is
add 1 success and 3 advantage.
Yes.
Yeah, add 1 success and 3
And
advantages.
ignore the threat.
Actually, 1 success, 4 advantage.
Yes, but the point is that it cancels one of the threats.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
So end result is weapon damage is 9, has a pierce value of 1.
All right. So tell me what the total damage is.
Am I insane, or do you add the what do you add to it from your
The successes. You did 15 damage and you triggered a crit.
I did trigger a crit. You're right.
So the crit automatically kills 1 minion.
15 damage probably kills the other 2. That's a lot of fucking damage.
15 damage, pierce 1.
Yeah. So they've got a 4 soak. So they've got a 3 soak. So that's 12 damage. They've got 10 damage left. So they are dead. So go ahead and describe how you scrap the lot of them.
So, Gand is a expert marksman, and the jump has been brought onto Gand, so Gand is now offended. While the rest of the party is dealing with the first group of droids, the Gand does not breathe, but the Gand pauses, the Gand's eyes unfocus, and the Gand begins and pulls the trigger on his blaster rifle 3 times, dropping all 3 droids in singular shots to the center of each.
Alright. So they are all smoking piles of rubble, with the exception of 1 lone battle droid, with 1 health left.
Gand would very much prefer if you surrendered. If anyone surrendered.
It's EOD, right? Actually, you know what? Hang on. I've got a actual thing that does this. All right, so this one is going to take a maneuver to disengage. Just going to move him up here. And he is going to fire on Marcus. Die, Jedi. Are you going to use a light side point to upgrade that difficulty?
I probably should. Yeah.
The Gand is a soak. They use dark side points to make it harder for the Gand to hit. You use it to help yourselves.
So I'm just going to go ahead and use one as well, so it's going to leave it at 2 and 3. So it's going to upgrade once. The difficulty, it's going to upgrade that. So he aims and fires. See how this works. Oh, yay. Alright, so I'm going to say using that advantage to inflict a strain, I think. I don't think I can do that. I'm just going to make it so that the next person that tries to do anything to him has a setback. So yeah, he opens fire wildly with his heavy blaster, completely ineffectually, and ends his turn. All right. At this point, it sounds like some alarms are going off in the distance. So next PC, new round.
Unless someone wants personally to deal with the droid, Gan can take the shot.
Yeah, just shoot it.
Take the shot, Gan.
You gave it the opportunity to surrender, and it didn't.
You gonna
Gan
upgrade?
does that a lot. Gan does not upgrade.
All right. So it's medium, so that's 2 difficulty. I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade. All right, go ahead. Oh, and a setback. So
I take a setback.
yeah, for the for its roll is 1 advantage. So I've got that calculated. The difficulty is set.
Do I take a setback?
A question: do you? Is there anything that lets you remove setback from attack rolls?
No. I've just got Hunter and Expert Tracker right now.
Okay. So yeah, it's set at difficulty 2, 1 setback, and it's upgraded 1. So open fire. Oof. So I'll say the thing probably just ducks behind the table. Actually, no,
Gan
it doesn't
does
duck
not
behind
have-
the table. It just ducks out of the way of the blast.
Gand does not have a clear shot at it. Gand is going to move first maneuver to here, second maneuver to here, and spend the 2 strain to do that, which that's going to be a fun thing to remember how to do in Roll20. But yeah, I'm doing 2 maneuvers to move over to the pile to the droids that the Gand shot and they blew up.
Okay. So you take 2 strain. Got it.
Gand has dealt
for the extra.
damage.
All right. Next PC.
I'm gonna shoot.
All right. So that is a difficulty. You're at still at close or short range, so
Yep.
1 difficulty. Are you going to upgrade it?
Yeah, and I'm going to aim, suffer 2 strain for a second maneuver, and then fire with my action.
I'm going to upgrade it as well, so upgrade it once on my side as well. All right, go ahead and describe how you kill the last one.
Yeah, I just sort of like crab sideways from the first shot to follow the droid, and just fire a second burst of fire that deafens everyone in the room, and core it right through the chest, and it just goes down in like sudden loss of servo motors.
All right, so you now find yourself standing amongst the wreckage of 6 completely deactivated amalgam droids. They appear to be an odd combination of protocol droid, different types of battle droid, and just some scrap. It looks like parts of ship hull have been taped to them with some sort of duct tape. It's a very odd job.
Gand is going to do forensics.
By the way, everyone give me a, I think it's a cool
Or discipline
check to regain any strain you might have lost.
I already did. I'm up to 13 out of 14.
So give me a mechanics check. And the difficulty is set.
This is for my forensics?
Yeah, basically. You're just doing a mechanics check on him, I'm guessing?
Well, I have a forensics kit, so I was going to do a perception test on them.
What does the kit do?
The kit mechanically gives me a extra success on all perception checks made by the user to spot and gather evidence. So my goal was to look through for it to find evidence of, like, basically trying to figure out sort of like an origin point. Like, if there was something in there that would lead us to have a culprit behind sending assassins after us, or, like, who put these droids wanting to kill Jedi on the ship and left them there after the Jedi is long gone.
So I'll say that you can do that. I don't feel that that's exactly what the forensic kit would necessarily do, because it would...
Oh yes, no, it's not. It's probably not.
So I've set in the difficulty at 2 purple and a setback since it's its unintended purpose. So go ahead and roll whenever you're ready.
Should I roll mechanics for that, or can I roll perception?
If you're trying to use perception, that's what I'm setting the setback for.
All right, that's fine. There we go. That's all right.
Curiously, you don't find anything. You can tell that these things have a good amount of wear and tear on them, but it's hard to tell if it's wear and tear that was there before they were scrapped together, or since they've been in operation with these new weird Frankenstein forms.
It would probably be more useful information for the Gand to look for if the Gand actually knew anything about the clone. However, they had weapons. Were the weapons destroyed?
No, the weapons are in fine shape. You now have 6 blaster rifles.
They are blaster rifles.
Yes.
All right. Gand was going to give one of them to Kazin, but Kazin uses a more pistol assemblage.
Kazin is already, like, picks one up basically already.
All right, that's fine. That's good.
Are they the generic blaster rifle from the book or something else?
Yeah, range of 9, damage 9, or sorry, range of long, damage 9, critical 3, stun setting, heavy blaster, or heavy range is the skill set.
Yep, I'm just gonna add it to my sheet.
So at this point, the door slides open, and Rutho steps in and gasps, "Oh my god, oh my goodness, are you all right?"
Gand cannot speak for everyone, but Gand believes we are relatively unharmed. More so than the uninvited guests.
Oh, I am pleased to hear that. I would hate for any guest to be harmed on my watch, especially since I had taken my leave of you all.
But a sense, surface emotions.
All right, you're going to have to roll a discipline for that.
Do they have a special power or something?
Yeah.
There's okay. Discipline. What's the difficulty?
Difficulty is 2 red and a purple.
Okay. I will. What's our pool at?
3 light, 2 dark.
I'll spend a light.
All right. Can someone else spend that for me?
I can. Give me a second.
Okay.
I think that's one of the buttons that works.
Is that perfectly symmetrical violence?
Yeah, this happens to me a lot.
You feel once again that something is blocking you. Give me a perception check, too. This difficulty is going to be...
Remove a setback. Well, tell me what it is. So.
It's going to be just 3 purple.
I woe the day I have to roll a presence skill.
I'm sorry, both those messages came in for me at the same time. Can I hear the difficulty again?
Yeah, 3 purple. Okay, so the first thing you notice is that it feels like you're actively being blocked. The second thing you notice is that her eyes seem like they move to you, fixing on Kazan for like half a second, but it's enough that you notice that she's looking at you, and perhaps she notices that you notice as well. And then her eyes dart to the side and says, does anyone need any medical assistance?
I think we're all fine, are we?
Marcus was the closest one to any of the droids' explosions when they died, but he looks to be more put together than...
He just has a bit of fizzy hair, that's it.
It's not like the Daffy Duck bill blown around backwards thing, so you're probably fine.
Well, you definitely know. It was duck season.
What happened?
Well, they apparently came from the ceiling, broke through, and said to us, "Die Jedi," and then started attacking, and we went up to defend ourselves. That's basically it, right?
That matches the long and the short of our encounter with...
She frowns and hums softly, and then pulls out a comm link and says, "Hank, please get a crew in here. We need someone to sweep the air vents. We need to make sure this isn't going to happen again. We might need security details." She closes the comm and sighs. "This is the first time something like this has happened. I'm so sorry. Let me get you to a more secure location, and maybe get you something to eat or drink. I don't know what I can do to make you more comfortable after such an ordeal."
It's fine. It comes with the business.
Still, you must understand, this is an embarrassment to me and my people, that something like this would have happened on our watch.
Understood.
So she steps out, and at this point it looks like about 8 armed guards march in, accompanied by 2 technicians. The technicians pick up the remnants of the droids, and she says to them, make sure that these are thoroughly scanned. We need to know who sent them.
Oh, they have proper scanners for this. Scanned is myth. Not actually, though.
So she leaves for a moment, and you're now standing in the room with the 8 guards. What's everyone doing?
Gand has a question for those of you left behind to clean up. But Gand wonders why a pack, murder, flock. What does one call a group of droids? But Gand wonders what a collective noun of droids would be wanting to kill Jedi, and why they would confuse this humble and simple crew of a starship with Jedi.
You're asking the security crew?
Gand is gauging their takes. The man on the street is always a wise source and more tapped into the universal truths of reality than people might expect.
The security detail kind of looks at each other, and then one of them turns back to you and says, "Man, I don't know. I just work here."
So is this new? Have there been
No, this is
gaggles of wild droid?
This is the first time I've seen anything like this. I mean, this is the first shots that have been taken on this ship in over 20 years, man. I mean, weird. This is weird.
Well, it might be a similar mix-up as the Vulture droids.
So, this is the most anyone has fired weapons in anger in the memory of this station, starting from the moment we arrived.
Again, the security detail looks at each other and just kind of shrug and nod in unison. Yeah.
At any rate, I believe we're ready to meet with both sides here and come to some consensus.
We just survived an assassination attempt, Marcus. It wasn't a very good...
I more see it as we survived a malfunction. Again, Vulture droids. Yeah, if I missed something while I was gone, let me know. But as far as I know, we just got attacked by droids for no reason.
Yeah, I'm gonna sort of step to the side next to one of the guards and let them know that I need to speak with what's her name real quick.
Rutho?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he says, "Yeah, sure. Just 1 minute."
Just take me to her.
Oh, yeah. All right, excuse me, guys. So he pulls Kazan aside, out into the main hall of the apartment complex, and Rutho appears to be giving orders to someone. And when she sees you, she turns around and says, yes, can I help you?
I need to speak with you alone.
Okay. She gestures to the person she's speaking with and kind of steps into an alleyway of the makeshift apartment complex. Yes? What can I help you with?
You're blessed with powers. Where do they come from?
They are powers that I have always had. They give me a sort of intuition as far as the way things are around me, and other things as well.
And you were never taught these things.
I was not.
You can sense things that are nearby you, that are happening around you. What other thing?
To a degree, I can detect them, but as far as control, there is not much that I can control. It seems again like she's about to say something more, and then holds back.
Do not hold back. Knowledge of the Elder should be shared amongst those who understand it. He sort of like slowly pulls out like a little chem stick and starts like scrawling absently on his arm with it.
She nods and says, I'm afraid there's not much I can teach you. Everything I can do is more reflexive or intuitive, not like what you can do, which has a degree of concentration to it. You can do yours at will. Mine is merely something that I can do if the need arises.
I will pull out my data pad and sort of like tap something out and attempt to like send her like a HoloNet address.
Okay, yeah. So you you send her
Trying to slide into her DMs.
Yeah, success.
Whatever, I got identical. Do what I want.
She now has your deets.
Excellent. My first space convert. I will just nod in what my character probably assumes is like a sagacious manner, and be like, I will be in touch, and then I will turn around and just like stride back into the room.
Before you leave, though, she says, and you're of course aware that two of your companions share this sort of gift. Yes.
Kazin just sort of shrugs and says, "The Elder blesses many with his secrets. Whether or not they choose to use them," he says derisively, "is another thing."
Yes, of course.
I'm pretty sure the Gand has made no bones about the fact that he uses the Force.
Oh yeah, the Gand is not the one I'm talking about.
The Gand is a
Whoa,
findsman!
wait.
The Gand is based
Wait.
in an entire religion!
Look, I don't agree with his
we were
religion.
talking about.
I don't agree with his religion, but I respect it.
So
Anyway, I walk back into the room. I didn't mean to sidebar very long there.
yeah, so you return, and the security detail is just finishing removing all of the scrap.
I'm really sad that there was an opportunity for more looting. While that sidebar was happening, Gand was attempting to make vague small talk in an attempt to gain more information from the security guards about the history of conflict and fighting on the Space Station 9.
So what kind of are you going to make a roll, or are you just kind of
I guess I'm gonna make a roll.
what kind of roll are you going to make?
I don't
The
know.
bad kind.
Charm.
What would you feel is appropriate?
Charm.
A lore roll, perhaps?
Lore would be what he knows, which would probably be pretty difficult considering this would be a very specific case of which there are no records.
Streetwise skullduggery?
Streetwise?
Not a present skill?
If you can make a case for streetwise, sure.
So Gann's entire kind of perception of this is the kind of the common knowledge of the layperson and like the blue collar working man's opinion of a thing is a reflection of what is actually occurring and what filters down. These security guards should have stories of conflict within the organic settlement. They should have kind of an understanding of what their training entails and what constitutes a fight and what we as the party did just there. And by applying the right leading questions to get them telling stories, the GAN can hear a little bit of the station's history with conflict.
Okay, I have set the difficulty if you want to go ahead and make that roll for Streetwise. And yeah, that boost was meant to be there. So you've already pretty much ingratiated yourself to these guys by taking out a greater number of droids than you all possess. So he seems pretty talkative when you start asking him about rumors. You're mainly wondering about whether or not there's any unrest.
It's more based off of the thing that you had said prior to the sidebar, where the security guard said this was kind of the first time that blasters had been fired in the history of this as a settlement rather than as a spaceship.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, man, I don't know. If I heard right, you're saying that they said die Jedi and started attacking you. I mean, that's weird, for sure, because you all ain't dressed like Jedi. Man. We've been pretty harmonious here in our little backwater settlement. We don't always see eye to eye on stuff because we're living things that got souls and shit, but and the droids don't got none of that. But we haven't butted heads really about anything to the point where weapons would be drawn. So man, I don't know. This is all news to me. But if anyone wants to talk about killing Jedi, there are two different groups that would want to do that. One would be those droids, and the other would be those clones. But you didn't hear this from me.
Gand will keep it under. Gand does not wear a hat. Gand apologizes for that idiot. But Gand does think that perhaps we should go speak with Reed, was it?
Yeah, Reed would be the leader of the clone guys.
What does the crew think of that?
Well, might as well try to get to know as much people as possible, but could also be good. And he said clones not like the Jedi. That's the first time we ever heard anything more than the fact is the Jedi was last with the.
Oh, was the clones? Was the clones not liking Jedi an actual point? Gand is very fuzzy on the history of the galaxy vis-a-vis the Clone War.
And if you really want to know, you got some people talking about the fact is that they were like child soldiers and being led by Jedi. Take that as what you will.
I think this is another discussion into which we can put a pin.
Gand will keep that in mind.
Is there anything else to discuss before we move on with seeking compromise?
Gand believes we should meet with Reed. Gand is going to ask one of the security detail, who, unless they've left, should still be here, to help direct Gand towards where Reed and his clones are.
So basically the next point of business is to speak with the clones. Is that what everyone wants to do?
Yep.
That is what Gand wants to do.
Yeah, that's what Gand wants to do. Marcus is ready to move on with things, but he's not going to object.
I think it actually would be fun to check them out.
So has everyone spoken up on what they want to do for the next plot point?
Believe we have reached consensus on heading over to the clone and then getting into the negotiations.
All right, so the security detail says, we'll accompany you just to make sure that no more bad stuff happens. Right this way, you guys. So you're now accompanied by 8 armed guards that move you through the living quarters to basically the edge of the storage area. So you're on the outskirts of the apartment complex. And you see, like the apartment complex, this is a section of the ship that has utilized extraneous parts of the hull to construct what appears to be a little fortress. Whereas the other apartments seemed more utilitarian and a little bit more comfortable. This is a very Spartan living situation. There's a little perimeter fence around it, as if the clones are trying to keep everyone at arm's reach. So the security detail buzzes a little panel on the side and says, "All right, you guys, good luck. We'll be out here if you need us."
I certainly hope it doesn't come to that.
Nah, you'll be fine. But just in case you need anything, just give us a shout.
I'm well aware that hope is not a plan.
However, Gand is violence.
Where are we? Thought I had a picture for this guy.
Do a quick Google search for Django Fett old.
You know, hang on a second, because
Wasn't there Rex that got old in the
yeah, Rex got old.
Yes, and then I think the fan base had him look like the said the old Rebel Commando in Return of the Jedi.
No, there's a very specific type of old that I'm thinking. So after a moment, the panel opens up, and an extremely old clone, his face greets you and says, "Oh yes, welcome. We've been hearing quite a bit of chatter about you and your crew. I'd be very interested to discuss things, but come on in. The front gates open and allow you entrance to the clone compound. I think that's probably a good place to stop. So I hope everyone enjoyed. Standard 15 experience base.
Oh.
And then whatever extra, if you write about your character, 5. If you take notes, 2. And if you have any feedback, anything you want to see, anything you didn't like, anything you did like, let me know. And we'll keep evolving this game to being the best game it can be.
God, this is my legitimate favorite set piece.
Dealing with 26 years, we've been out of port. We still haven't figured out what to do after 10 years of arguing. Now the PCs have to be the decision.
Yay, politics.
Oh no, this isn't politics. Things will get done.
That's true. Yeah, you guys
They
have.
had to wait for the protagonist to show up.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm heading off to bed. So good night, everyone. I will talk with you all later.
Later.
Night.
Bye.
Night.
Have a good one.